lobster mini season. We're heading out for hopefully a massive catch of lobster.
I don't play that.
We've got 8 people on the boat, so we're allowed 6 per person per day. So I guess we'll get about 48.
We're not that prepared this morning. I'll just say we're using a lot of early air set up.
We only scouted for 35 minutes. Found 0 lobster.
It's been a rough week with batteries dying, car flat tires.
It's been an interesting season so far.
Oh yeah. We're having a good time, right?
Always having a good time. Always having a good time. And I mean, we always load up at the bridge, so looks like we're gonna get wet today. Definitely some rain clouds up ahead. I see some rain straight ahead. This is it. Ocean Adventures.
Kiki, you jumping into the bridge?
Mini season 23.
All right, it's 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Lobster morning. All the boats are bugging back in. We got the big old storm running behind us. So looks like we're gonna hit the second slack tide today, maybe.
Tell us that experience of that first dive ever at the bridge.
It was awesome. Just couldn't stay down long enough.
What was the tell the people on camera what happened?
Man, not even 5 minutes down, I didn't have enough weight. Couldn't stay buoyant. But my boys are out there doing it, and my friends are out there killing it right now. They're gonna come up with all the lobsters.
They will. All right.
Welcome back to the bottom of the ocean floor. I figured I would do a little bit of a voiceover here just to kind of talk through what's happening and what we're doing. For any of you newcomers that are just getting into lobstering and are wondering how to do it, hopefully this will be a good tutorial just to give you some insight and some help so that your journey can be successful. So basically what you're looking for is any kind of ledge, any kind of hole, any kind of structure that these lobsters can hide underneath of. Once you find that and you see the antenna sticking out, more than likely there's multiple lobster within that area. You will see us kind of sifting through, passing by some of them and then grabbing others. Basically what this is through the many years of doing this, we're able to determine based off of the antenna size whether or not that lobster is going to be a keeper. So it just helps us in our efficiency, being able to see that, being able to clear the smaller ones out. Most of the time in these big ledges, the smaller ones are going to be closer to the front edge, and the back is going to be full of the big keepers. So you'll have to sift through them to kind of get to the keepers that are in the back. Now we are in about 15 to 20 feet of water. We are on scuba tanks. Typically these dives last anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes depending on how efficient we are, how much we conserve our air. So when we go into the water, we bring all of the necessary tools that are going to be useful throughout the dive. So we'll always go down with a tickle stick that also has a measuring device on it, and we also bring a net as well. A lot of times these ledges will have backdoor entrances or exits, and when you find that, if you can cover it up with a net and then you can scare the lobster towards that entrance or exit and they get tangled up in the net, you can catch them that way. And then in terms of the tickle stick and the measuring device, these are Florida spiny lobsters, so they do have to be 3 inches in terms of their head shell length. As you can see, this yellow tool is how we measure them. It's got a 3-inch gap in it, so we put that front edge right between the eyes and between the horn, and then if it actually goes over the back of the head shell, then that means that head shell is less than 3 inches. It is not a keeper, and as long as it doesn't drop below the back side of that head shell, it's a legal keeper, and it goes into the bag. And you'll see some clips here of the lobster bag. we take down as well. Usually it's tied to somebody's weight belt, and that's basically where we stuff these lobsters after we grab them and measure them and know that they're legal keepers. They go into the lobster bag. There's a little flap on the front of the bag. Once you stuff them in there, that flap shuts, so it eliminates their ability to get back out. The only downfall to that is you are having a bag full of lobster dangling by your leg at the bottom of the ocean. The good thing though is in this area, we typically only see nurse sharks, sometimes some barracuda, but they don't ever seem to be aggressive or mess with anybody, so that's a good thing. One of the other things we have here too are heavy duty gloves and dive shirts as well. You obviously are grabbing Florida spiny lobster, which are sharp. They have a bunch of jagged edges on them, so your hands will get cut up. So a good pair of gloves is essential, as well as some tight shirts to kind of cover up your skin. One other point or two is before you go sticking your hands in these ledges, it's always a good rule of thumb to kind of look before you go diving in there. Sometimes there will be eels, there will be sea urchins, there's other creatures that are in there that could potentially bite you or harm you, so it's a good idea once you see the lobster antenna to kind of see if you can get a good look out behind there. Sometimes we will bring a dive light to kind of shine back in there. We didn't have one on this dive, but we didn't necessarily need it. There was a lot of lobster to choose from. It seemed like we were the first people to hit the spot for mini season 2023. I believe all of the nasty storms that came in the morning kind of pushed everybody back to their houses, and so nobody had the opportunity to get in there this morning. So when we did this afternoon dive, they were pretty much untouched, so we were able to clean through them and load up.
Back here in the Keys. We got Brian in there coming out. We got the boys coming out. Let's see what they got.
I'm gonna need the ladder. Come on, Doctor. Hey, you wanna come out? Run this. Here, let me get this. These are all keepers too. Here, I'll get it. Let me just unlatch. Yeah, I know everyone in here is. I wasn't even playing games. Yeah, we hit it hard. We're about to see how many we got.
Double measure everyone that
got
goes in.
Stuff bag. This is what you're talking about. Stuff bag right there, boy. That's it. There's three. Oh, yeah. Whiter crab, yeah. Where are we going? White crab? That's a nice crab.
Captain Mike putting us on the lobster. My dog.
So after we're finished with the tank dives, and if everyone hasn't gotten their limit for the day, what we like to do is free dive some different areas. We usually try to target places that are anywhere from 6 to 10 feet, and we basically get out there and drift with our snorkel masks and fins, try to see if we can spot some antennas from the surface.
Hey, Yari, you'll be able to see their antennas from up here, and then get your breath and dive down. And it gets really good back here too, so we can just drift with the current too, so don't feel like you gotta fight the current. Do you want me to get him? Or are you gonna get him? Are you gonna get him?
Visibility this year was a little challenging. Some years it's crystal clear, others it's a little murkier, so that makes it a little harder to see them from the surface, but I would say it was probably about a 5 this year. One thing we really enjoy is when we have the opportunity to teach the newbies. If we ever have a newbie out on the boat that's never caught a keeper before, everyone really enjoys being able to coach them, to teach them. Typically we'll find the spots. We'll spot the antennas from the surface. Most of the time we'll have somebody go down, investigate the situation, check out the hole, make sure that it's a safe environment, and then give them all the tips and the know-how in terms of being able to get their hands in there, wrestle it out, and keep hold of it so they don't lose it. It's quite exciting for somebody to catch their first lobster, not only for that person who's catching their first keeper lobster, but also for the whole team involved. That's the people in the water, the people on the boat. It's quite a rush. It's really invigorating, and it's quite an accomplishment. So I think once you catch your first keeper, you're pretty much hooked, and every opportunity you have to kind of get back in the water and grab some more lobsters, I'm sure you'll jump on it. So hopefully we've given you some tips and some know-how in terms of coaching, and obviously if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'd be happy to answer them, give you any pointers, any tips, anything that we can do to make your lobster hunting more successful.
He's got one. He's got two. Three. He's got three. He's got the other two.
There you go, you heard her. She's a keeper. Hold tight. Look at that, beautiful.
End of mini season. Pulling out, lined up, and just in time for the rain. All right, welcome back to the kitchen. Thanks so much for staying a part of this for this 3-part series. We're finally getting into the lobster aspect of this whole series of videos. Typically on mini season week, we can only get in the water and grab those lobsters on Wednesday and Thursday. So the beginning part of the week, we're really spending a lot of time out fishing and diving and just really exploring all that the Keys has to offer. So thanks so much for staying tuned in. And here we are in the kitchen for Lobster Day. So one of the traditions my family's been doing over the years, since we come back with such an abundance of lobster, is we start off with what we call Lobster Fest. And right after we get back, we cook a bunch of lobster, we cook steak, and we just feast. And so the family gets together and we just enjoy time together eating this fresh caught lobster. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do a recipe that I've never done before. Typically all we do is steam the lobster tail and dip them in butter and eat them that way, but watching some of these videos online, I saw something that looked really interesting, and I thought this might be a good thing to try out and kind of get everybody's feedback on it. So this is from Key West Waterman, Dibs on the Bottom. You just did a video on this, kind of cooking your lobster tails with a garlic butter sauce, as well as panko and breadcrumbs and stuff. So that's kind of what we're putting together here today. We basically are going to start off by cutting the tops of these garlic cloves off, and we're going to roast them in the oven for about 35-45 minutes, just to kind of get that roasted really nice. And then we're going to put that into a lime mixture with butter and kind of make this buttery lime garlic mixture, and then we're going to cook the lobsters. I think we're going to boil them, and then we're going to put all that together with the butter lime garlic mixture, kind of mix that stuff together. And then we're also going to make kind of a breading that's going to go on top with the panko seasoning as well as the Italian breadcrumbs, and we're going to throw in some of this Parmesan cheese as well, and that's going to be the topping that kind of goes over top of it. So we're going to get into this. We'll chime back in different stages of it, let you see what we're doing, and ultimately at the end of it we'll have the taste test reveal. And thanks again for tuning in, and this should be an awesome cook. We're going to turn the oven to, let's say, 375, get that preheated, and then we're going to cut the tops off of these garlic cloves. And then what we're going to do is sprinkle some olive oil, some salt and pepper, wrap them in tin foil, and then once the oven comes up to temp, we're going to put them in there and we're going to let them roast for, like I said, probably 35-45 minutes. Put them in our tin foil,
And we're gonna drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil. And then some salt and pepper. We're gonna wrap them up and get them sealed. Nice and flat, easy in there, and then put all this together and kind of keep it sealed so all the steam and moisture stays in. All right, so for the steak part of this video, we're gonna be using the charcoal grill. Charcoal grill for steaks, I found to be really spectacular. So we're gonna be using Kamado Joe. Not sure if you guys are familiar with the Kamado style of cooking, but this is a heavy duty ceramic egg style grill. It's really awesome. Not only can you grill, you can smoke, you can bake, you can do all kinds of different things with it. It's a really awesome resourceful tool for cooking outside. So what we're going to do today is a reverse sear. For any of you grilling connoisseurs out there, I'm sure you know what a reverse sear is. We're basically going to heat this grill up with indirect heat. We're going to get it probably to about 225 degrees, and we're going to cook the steaks for probably about 15 minutes. We're going to do that at that slow smoking temperature, and then we're going to take them off, and then we're going to crank this thing up. So the awesome part about this grill is that you can get it super hot. So you can get this thing up to 700, 800, 900 degrees, which is really awesome when you're trying to cook a steak, to basically sear it. It gets charred really quick and just kind of gets that nice crust on the outside that you typically can't get from a traditional propane-based grill, because they're only going to get up to about 500, maybe 600 degrees tops. So it really makes it awesome. So what I do here is I fill it with the charcoal, kind of get it all set and ready, and then I'm going to put the deflector plates in it to kind of create the direct or indirect heating method, and I'm going to let it come up to temperature. Because this is a super thick ceramic, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get it going, get it brought up to temperature and kind of preheated, more or less, in a sense. I use these Kamado Joe fire starters, and it makes it really easy. Charcoal is kind of difficult to get started, just because it needs a constant flame for a good amount of time. So I just take 2 of these things and kind of stick them on each side, a little bit underneath of the charcoal, and I got a little fire starter. This thing is awesome, little butane thing. Gets it going. And so you basically start these little squares up, they start to burn, and you leave it for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, charcoal's pretty much lit, and then we'll put the deflector plates in and let this thing come up to temperature. So what I'm going to do now is put the deflector plates on. So these deflector plates are going to create the indirect heating. So they will heat up. These are also thick ceramic as well. And this egg shape is going to allow the convection to kind of start within there. So I'm going to shut this lid. I'm going to let this come up to about 225 degrees, and then I'm going to put the steaks on there for the first part of this cook. All right, we're getting the lime garlic butter mixture together. So these are roasting in the oven. I just kind of let them cool off a little bit. So this is 2 sticks of butter here, and then I'm probably only going to use maybe 2 or 3 cloves of the garlic. I'll take these and squeeze these in. This stuff should just fall right out into the butter. And then I'm going to juice up some lime, and now I'm going to put this on the Ninja here and just kind of blend it up a little bit. And now what we're going to do is add the lime. Just do a little bit at a time, actually depending on what you prefer it to be. If you want it super limey, then make it super limey. If you don't, then I would say add it in little by little, and then mix it around and make sure you get it to a consistency that's good for you. All right,
right, here we are. Grill is up to, looks like 225 degrees. So we're gonna put these steaks on right now to kind of start the cooking process. I've got actually two fillets and then one ribeye. The girls like fillets. I'm a big ribeye fan, so the girls also like their steaks done a little bit more than I do. So I'm gonna put theirs on, get theirs going first, probably a couple of minutes before I put mine on, and we're gonna let these go about 10 minutes on each side. All right, time to put the ribeye on, get that going. I forgot to mention too, I coated these in a nice coating of sweet and smoky rub. This is a great kind of sweet, smoky rub. We're gonna let this go, probably 8 minutes now. Here we are for the flip. Still holding at 225. So turn these over and we'll see, they just kind of get a little bit of a cook going on, kind of get the juices flowing, cook started. And this is all part of the reverse seared. All right, let's check and see how this is looking. It's pretty nice. I think I'm gonna take the ribeye off because I'm gonna want that extra rare. Let them rest. Get this grill screaming hot. So the way you actually do this with these egg kind of charcoal Kamado grills is there's air vents basically on the bottom for your intake to kind of get the fire burning hot, and then also the outtake of how the air gets out of it. So one of the things I'm also going to do on here too is take off these deflector plates, because what I want to do now is not indirect, but I want to have actual direct heat. If you have one of these kinds of grills, it's definitely a good idea to have some really heavy duty fire gloves, because a lot of times you're going to be sticking your hands in here touching some hot stuff, and if you don't have a good pair of gloves, you're going to burn yourself. I'll put this grate back on. Close this lid, and I'll show you how you adjust the vents. So this is your top vent, so you're going to want to go wide open on that, and this is your bottom vent, and this is all your air intake, and I go wide open on that. So now your airflow is maximized, kind of ripping through this thing, so those charcoals are going to get super hot, and you're going to see this thing go from 220 now, and we'll kind of check back in a little while. Probably give it about 30-40 minutes or something to get really hot, and it's probably going to be about 700 degrees before we throw these steaks back on. All right, we are ready to put these lobster tails in the boiling water. We got that water going, and we're gonna boil them for just about 6 minutes because we don't want them to fully cook. Just gonna drop them in. All right, we've been going for just about 6 minutes, so we're gonna get these out of here, and we're gonna put them right into the ice bath over here, because we want to stop that cooking so that they don't overcook. All right, now that these lobsters have been in the ice bath, what I'm going to do is cut the underside of them out of the shell. So basically this belly side of the shell. I'm going to take some nice sharp kitchen scissors, and I'm going to cut through both sides so that I can peel this off. So here's our big old lobster tail. There we go. And now I'm just going to chop off this lobster. See how it's translucent, showing that it's not fully cooked because it's going to cook the rest of the way in the oven. So I'm just going to chop these up into little chunks. All right, I got the lobster all chopped up into nice big pieces, and then what I'm going to do now is mix in this garlic butter lime mixture. So I'm going to stir it up a little bit. I'm going to use about half of this, I guess. We'll see. See what it looks like once it gets in there. And just kind of mix it all through, coated and covered throughout all the lobster. So now what we're going to do is fill these shells. So this is just going to be a nice presentation for them. So we're going to stuff as much as we can into each one of these shells. So we're going to put some of this breadcrumb, panko,
Parmesan cheese mixture on top. I'm just gonna sprinkle it, make sure it gets in all the little crevices and cracks. I'll put kind of just a, I don't know, an average coating of this stuff on top of it. I don't want it to be super bready. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit more of the garlic, butter, lime over top. Not a ton, you don't want it to be soupy, but just kind of drizzle it here and there. This is gonna help crispen up that top part. All right, now that we have that drizzle on top, we're gonna move very gingerly so they don't fall over. That's one difficulty that I recognized is, you know, the shells aren't flat, so they don't really stand up too well, so you have to lean them against each other. So we're gonna go in the oven. It's at 350. We're gonna let them go for 10 minutes and then probably turn the broiler on and crisp them up on top. So I'm gonna head out to the grill, get the steaks going, and we should be ready to eat and do the taste test soon. One of the things about these grills when they get super hot like this, you wanna burp them a little bit when you open it up so you don't get like this big burst of flame that kind of comes up in your face. It could burn your eyebrows off, so you have to be careful. So we're gonna put these on for probably about 1.5 minutes on each side. And get nice and seared. And now we're gonna go in for the flip. There you have it. All right, the steak's been resting for a little while, so I'm gonna slice this thing up, get ready for the plate. So let's see how it turned out. Look at that, beautiful, medium rare to rare. So I'm gonna slice these down and get them on the plate. Then we're gonna get the lobster out of the oven. Get these lobsters all done. Oh yeah, look at that. Looks amazing. All right, here we are. We made it to the table. Looks beautiful. Monica's diving in. See what she thinks. We got the breadcrumbs for her, the unhealthy breadcrumbs. So.
It's really good.
Really good? Really,
I love it.
Really good. Andy's not doing lobster. She's doing steak. Let's see what Hannah thinks.
It's good. Nice.
It's good?
Forget your knife.
All right. Well, thanks to Key West Waterman. Great recipe. Looks like it was a success here too. So thanks again for going on this journey with us, this 3-part journey. And stay tuned for our next adventure. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. This is it, Ocean Adventures.